Photography is an old interest that I took up already since I was a teenager, and it develops over the years. So when I studied architecture, I was concentrating on the profession and didn't do much about it. So as I practice more in architecture, I I sort of pick up the camera again and start to take pictures of buildings actually. At that time, I was very interested to take old buildings, ancient buildings. I will visit the World Heritage buildings and I will just photograph them for my own collection. That's how I rekindled my interest in the architectural photography. Actually, it happens over 20 years, 2 decades. It goes all the way back during my studies in the Junior College, which I will share later in my talk. It's just a long story. But I remember there was one time when, during many visits to Borobudur, I saw some Japanese people. They were holding a little book with them, and they are actually there for pilgrimage, right? I don't know what is in their book, but they are actually referring to the book as they walk around Borobudur. So I thought it would be nice to have something like this for people to be able to look at the release before they go to visit Borobudur, because when you're there you might not have enough time or the weather is too hot for you to actually see the reliefs properly. Now the other reasons of course is because of my interest in the ancient architecture and the culture, which I know that the complete cataloging of the pictures were only done more than about 100 years ago when they first did the restoration. After that, I don't think there's anyone has systematically photographed them. And over the years, the reliefs, I think, have deteriorated, but no one is taking pictures of them again. And with our modern technology, our knowledge in photography, we are able to photograph them and catalog them again and keep them forever. I think that's very important because that's how we record our culture and our history. Yes, firstly, I think that the very important part of being a photographer is to have a very good subject. Working with them, actually, are working with the best people, and the resorts and the hotels are beautiful. So it makes it a lot easier to have a very nice portfolio from there. And I personally also go with them to the locations to take the pictures, right? And of course, then we will spend a lot of time making sure that everything is set up perfectly. And when I take them, I'll make sure that the lighting is also the best that we can get. For example, sunrise, sunset, or in the evenings, or maybe in the midday when we are doing a resort on the beach, right? So in that sense, it shapes. In that sense, it actually raised my standard of choosing my subjects. It took at least 5 to 10 years over many visits to Borobudur. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good because sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's cloudy, and I have many pictures that of the same scene that I don't use. But what you see in the book are the best ones. Example, you could see in one picture from Borobudur that the sun is actually rising from in between the two mountains, which happens in June. So I was very lucky. I think one of the very heartwarming experience I have is interaction with the people who were visiting the Borobudur while I was taking pictures. Because I spent practically whole day there waiting for the light, and I would just stand around with my camera and a tripod. I remember once there was this tourist. I was sitting on the parapet, which I wasn't supposed to, but at that time they allowed me. the guards that already know me. So I was sitting on the parapet just waiting, and one of the tourists sat down next to me and asked me, "What are you doing?" So I was chatting with him why I'm here and why I'm photographing all this and why am I waiting. So those kind of experience to me is invaluable. The interaction with the people, and it's not just about the final picture, but the experience of going through taking the pictures. First, they need to have an interest in that, right? When you have an interest in them, you will try to find out more about the history, why the monuments exist, whether it's architecture or whether it is religious, or whether it's just for meditation. A lot of these buildings have a very important history. If we don't understand, if we don't find out more, find out everything about these buildings or these monuments, it will just be another place for us to photograph, and we will not have passion, or we will not have a connection to with these monuments. And if we don't, how are we going to present them in a photograph to the rest of the people who wants to go or who wants to see these monuments?